Andrew Cuomo, for as many people have probably made fun of him for his unfortunate last name growing up in New York, says he's going to announce legislation this past Wednesday, I should say, to remove firearms from people who commit domestic violence crimes.
Mm-hmm.
This, my friends, is a step in a right direction, I think.
Yes, I think it is.
Because even in our own culture, Scott Smith, there were allegations of him abusing his wife, Jen, in their relationship. I mean, not overtly, like people knew about it, but there were stuff on record, apparently. And if he would have had his gun removed and wasn't able to procure one, we might still have,
Wouldn't this just apply to people who've been convicted of domestic violence? Because we do have an innocent until proven guilty. I do think that's a good thing. I do think that's a good thing that we should have weight, because although there is currently supposedly some blocks to it, it's not very thorough.
No. So for Cuomo here, he says that he's announcing this legislation to remove all firearms for those who commit any domestic violence crime. So even if it's domestic violence, like assault,
Yeah, so they have to be guilty, though. They do have to be found guilty.
Exactly. It's not just like speculation. It's nothing like that.
Yeah. So it's like me, where my abuse wasn't violent.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't have pressed charges because none of it was violent. It was still abuse. Unfortunately, our law hasn't caught up to all the forms of violence that can occur. But I'm sorry. I don't think my ex-husband should have guns. I don't think he's a safe person. I don't think he should have guns. But I couldn't press charges on that one. But I'm just making it clear that it has to be people who are convicted.
Yeah. And the interesting thing here is that most of the mass shooters that we've had recently, the mass shooting in Sutherland Springs in I think that's the one that happened in Texas. Yeah, Sutherland Springs, Texas. Yeah. The Orlando shooting at the Pulse nightclub, and the shooter at the congressional baseball game practice. It was all a trend. Every single one of those guys had prior history of domestic violence. And had their
shocking.
Yeah, shocking, right?
I tell you.
I mean, they don't have studies on this because they're not allowed to have studies on this. And so a Democratic lawmaker introduced a bill last month that would conduct a study examining whether there was a correlation between that and domestic violence and mass shooters. But that's probably not going to be funded because the NRA owns the everything in the government right now, because they happen to just have spent enough money to get these people bought and sold. It's just amazing. I think it's good that this kind of thing's coming up. It's probably going to be struck down, I would assume. It's
not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go.
Well, they'll pass it in New York, and it's not going to. They'll come up with a federal case that's going to make it so everybody across the nation cannot have this happen to them. So it's going to be deemed unconstitutional, because we've got a way of determining the Second Amendment to mean this ironclad statement where everybody gets a gun. I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't read that way to me.
It doesn't, and it has been interpreted by the courts to mean that restrictions and regulations are constitutional.
Yeah. God damn it. I just think it's a step in the right direction, but unfortunately it's probably never going to go anywhere. And I hate to be fatalist about this.
These fuckers don't. They want. First of all, they want the plausible deniability for domestic violence to constantly be the case, so that
we can blame that instead of the gun itself.
Yeah, exactly. Like they always want that to be the thing. So, and they want the freedom to be able to domestically abuse someone and not have their freedoms restricted. Because that's the reality. That's what they want.
Oh, my freedoms.
It's just all bad. All fucking
What about
bad.
the women's freedoms?
That would just resolve a lot of problems in this country altogether. It's just, we got rid of the guns.
It would help some of the problems, I think.
Yeah.
It would make it a little...
I'm still for hunting. I'm sorry. I can't.
No.
I can't.
Okay. I'm talking about, you still are able to hunt and stuff like that, but nobody needs a private fucking arsenal. Nobody needs...
Nobody does, but...
Handguns? I'm sorry. Handguns are one that I could see go away forever.
You need those in times of war to have close combat with people. I can understand that. But I'm going to the grocery store today. I need to make sure I have my Glock with me.
You shouldn't have a gun. You shouldn't have a gun. I don't care if there is a bad guy with a gun. You do not fire in a grocery store.
No.
Okay? I don't care if there is a bad guy with a gun. Do not fire in a grocery store.
No. And it's still funny to me. And
you coordinate with like 3 people who are on the outskirts of that, and you rush the motherfucker, because there's no way he's getting any of you if you rush him. All 3 of you at once, not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it funny that people use that as like a way to shore up their courage, and it bugs me because like, oh gosh, we're going into this part of town. I better make sure I have my gun with me. It's like, just don't go to that part of town, or if you have to go to that part of town, just don't be an asshole. Most people really tend to leave you alone if you leave them alone, right?
I mean, you talk about, I went to a super duper Muslim part of Brooklyn. Been a week there.
No issues, right?
No, it was super safe. The thing about New York is, if you follow the social contract,
you're fine.
No one's a dick to you. You follow the social contract. No one is a dick to you. Mm-hmm. It's people are actually quite nice.
Yeah, they are.
Just don't be a dick. Don't block the subway exit. That's easy. Mm-hmm. Don't invade other people's space unnecessarily, and don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, it's so easy. And in New York, people will look out for you. Mm-hmm. I mean, people were looking out for my friends' kids, and they weren't being bad or anything. They were just like making sure the kids didn't get hurt in a risk you weren't aware of, or like just little things. People were very nice, and everyone's like, New Yorkers are assholes. I'm like, no, they're not. You're the asshole. You were the asshole, because I didn't have any issues, not a one.
They're not assholes. They have no patience for shit.
And I could walk that's it. I did walk around this neighborhood by myself, and it was nice. It was lovely.
Nothing to worry about.
I was like, oh, this is just a bright, shiny neighborhood. We walked. Her and I walked from a bar, drunk, like stereotypical drunk, arms around each other, like, yeah, we just had a good time. Nobody fucked with us. Not even close. Because guess what? We were drunk. We weren't assholes.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy.
Social contract.
It's so easy. And that's the thing, is that you don't need a gun in a bad neighborhood if you're not going to be an asshole.
Yep. It's the reason Homer had so much trouble in New York City, because he hated the city. He went there looking for it. So he got his trouble. Meanwhile, everybody else had a wonderful visit and stayed away from the chuds.